Elijah Gardner, and today I wanted to speak about stress management as it relates to your stroke. The order of the presentation will proceed as follows. I'll take the time to define stress and discuss the importance of stress management and explain the body's natural response to stressors. Next, I'll discuss common concerns faced by survivors of stroke leading to increased stress, followed by explaining how chronic stress impacts recovery. Lastly, I'll describe how helpful interventions to address and mitigate stress and identify helpful people in your support system with whom to discuss it. For starters, what is stress? The World Health Organization defines stress as a state of worry or mental tension caused by a difficult situation. It's important to remember stress is a natural human response that prompts us to address challenges and threats in our lives. Stress can be internal or external, positive or negative, actual or perceived. Often, after major life events, individuals tend to prioritize addressing their physical health rather than emotional health on their path to recovery. I believe that it's important to consider stress management because stress related mental health disorders are significantly greater in stroke survivors compared with the general population. Moreover, stroke survivors report experiencing persistently high levels of stress, which can be associated with poorer long-term health outcomes. Um, Lastly, stress can be cumulative, meaning if not handled properly and in a healthy manner, stressful events can add on to one another, one at a time, and continue without relief. That's why it's important to find healthy ways to manage it. On to the biological responses when your body experiences stress. The biological process of stress starts with an area of the brain that contributes to emotional processing called the amygdala. The amygdala sends a distress signal to the hypothalamus, which acts as your body's command center by communicating with the rest of the nervous system whether it should engage in fight or flight. The hypothalamus communicates with the autonomic nervous system responsible for involuntary reactions such as breathing, your heart rate, and blood vessel dilation. The autonomic nervous system controls the sympathetic nervous system, which gives the body the energy it needs to respond to potential threats. It also controls the parasympathetic nervous system, which takes the body through a rest and digest process after recognizing the threat has passed. In other words, if the sympathetic nervous system were your body's gas pedal, the parasympathetic nervous system would be the brakes. During this very quick process, the body experiences an increase of adrenaline and cortisol in the bloodstream so that the individual can focus only on the bodily systems responsible for addressing the perceived threat. These typically reduce once the stressful event ends. But what happens if an individual perceives the stressful trigger to always be present, or they don't find a healthy way to manage it? Long-term exposure to the stress response system can be detrimental to one's health. For example, high adrenaline and cortisol levels correlate significantly to high blood pressure, high blood sugar, a suppressed immune system, as well as a suppressed digestive system. On to common concerns faced by stroke survivors leading to an increase of stress. For starters, emotional challenges are common after serious life events, such as stroke, and it's important to advocate for yourself to others so that they're aware of your stressful triggers. Also, stressors, of course, are not just limited to these two. These are two common ones that I found by reviewing literature and in my personal interactions with stroke survivors. Uh, for many people, immediately following a stroke, it's common to stress about the unknown. In this case, it may look like a constant state of worry about personal gains, unfamiliarity with stroke implications on daily activity, or uncertainty with long term support services. Additionally, Many stroke survivors have spoken to their personal experiences with significant stress related to the impact their stroke has made on their caregivers or families. Now, on to the long term effects of chronic stress. For many stroke survivors, the recovery process includes many episodes of anxiety characterized by restlessness and difficulty concentrating, as well as depression, heightened irritability, lethargy, and emotional latency. It's important to understand how these factors impact one's health outcomes after having a stroke, as well as how they diminish motivation necessary for their recovery process. Moreover, chronic stress in stroke survivors often correlates with poor medical adherence, slower recovery, higher mortality, and the need for more intense caregiver assistance due to its ability to worsen pre existing health conditions, which I'll talk about in the next slide. Starting with motivation, perceived psychological stress has negative effects on emotion, mood, and memory, which are all vital processes for motivation. This often leads to feelings of hopelessness if not managed in a healthy manner. In regard to poor medical adherence, this can be due to the impact of chronic stress on memory and focus. Oftentimes, individuals experience an increased need for their caregiver due to unhealthy coping mechanisms such as alcohol and substance abuse, as well as a lack of motivation to be an active participant in their own recovery process, leading to muscle weakness. Lastly, as mentioned previously, the body naturally enters a state of high alert during stress, and chronic stress can lead to an increased risk of cardiovascular disease due to the rise in heart rate and blood pressure over time, unfortunately, increasing an individual's risk for mortality. So, what are things that you can do? Here are some helpful intervention ideas to hopefully mitigate stress in your life. Starting with mindfulness. Mindfulness exercises such as deep breathing and meditation help draw your focus inward and lessen the stress by reducing activity in the amygdala, which can slow down your decision making and increase your mood. When meditating, you can start with 1 minute at a time in pure silence and try building up over the course of an extended period of time. Journaling is also a great grounding exercise as it can increase focus and introspection and can also be beneficial for increasing positive thoughts. There are many different kinds of journaling, such as gratitude journaling or flow state journaling, where in gratitude journaling, an individual may be writing positive affirmations and writing about things that they're grateful for. Flow state journaling would feature an individual writing as much as they can with no set topic in mind, more so just writing what comes to mind initially and writing everything that comes to mind. Moving over to cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, individuals tend to magnify or minimize an event in their life, leading to a cognitive distortion of reality. Cognitive restructuring aims to help people disturb those negative thought patterns through cultivating more positive and functional thought habits. In this way, the individual may find that their thoughts and perceptions of stress may not be an accurate representation of reality. Cognitive restructuring can be a tool to address potentially harmful perceptions of self, others, or events. On to diet and exercise. A healthy diet without toxins such as alcohol or nicotine can help reduce stress. Movement helps increase blood flow and deepen your breath, while also giving the individual an opportunity to feel their body and return to a calm state. It's important to know your limitations so that you don't push yourself over the limit of exhaustion. Examples of this could include yoga, Pilates, or walking, or many more, of course. According to the American Heart Association, though, it is recommended for an individual to reach at least 40 minutes of moderate aerobic activity a week or 20 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity. Lastly, fostering healthy friendships and relationships could be very helpful for stress management, as social participation and supportive environments to reduce potential feelings of isolation um, is very helpful for the individual. This can be because feelings of isolation may be brought upon by life changes. So just being around others that you feel will listen and be supportive would be very helpful. Lastly, who can you talk to? There are many people in your support system, so it's important to highlight who exactly you could talk to about stressful events in your life. Starting with physicians, physicians can be helpful for early detection of symptoms associated with chronic stress and can provide health education about stress management. Psychological therapists can work with the stroke survivor to identify causes and complete psychological assessments to inform the individual's best course of action. And of course, as said previously, speaking to your caregiver and family about specifically what is leading to increased or prolonged stress can be very helpful. Having someone that you're confident in to listen non judgmentally and with greater context to your personal life, as well as your family and your caregivers have the greatest amount of insight into your daily personal lives and can help you make any lifestyle modifications as needed. Here are my references. And thank you all. I hope this was informative, and please let me know if you have any questions.